Virgo, there is something about the way you carry yourself right now that people are finding extremely difficult to ignore. And what makes this so interesting is that you may not even realize how much attention you are attracting. You may think you are simply going about your day, handling your responsibilities, taking care of your business, responding when you feel like responding, staying in your own world, being selective about who gets access to your time and energy. But from the outside, something completely different is happening. People are watching, people are noticing, people are remembering the way you speak, the way you react, the way you make a simple conversation feel unexpectedly entertaining. There is something about your presence that keeps returning to their minds long after the conversation has ended. And Virgo, this is especially powerful because you are not necessarily trying to impress anyone. You are not walking into every room demanding attention. You are not forcing yourself to be the loudest person. You are not desperately searching for approval. In fact, a big part of the attraction surrounding you right now comes from the fact that you seem to be perfectly capable of enjoying your own company. You have this very particular combination of intelligence, wit, observation, and charm that makes people curious about you. You can say something simple and somehow make it memorable. You can make someone laugh without trying too hard. You can notice details other people completely miss. You can look at a situation from an angle that nobody else considered, and that is creating a very specific reaction around you. People are becoming interested, then curious, then emotionally invested. And before they even fully understand what is happening, they may realize that they are thinking about you far more often than they intended to. There is a person in particular who seems to be experiencing this very strongly. This person may have initially approached you with a completely different attitude. They may have thought you were simply attractive, interesting, fun to talk to, maybe even a little mysterious. But something changed because the more they interacted with you, the more they realized that your appeal was not just physical. It was not just about your appearance. It was not just about the way you dress, your smile, your voice, or the way you carry yourself. It was your mind, your timing, your sense of humor, the way you can go from being completely serious to saying something so unexpectedly clever that people don't know whether they should laugh or admire you. And Virgo, this person is beginning to understand that your charm is dangerous in the best possible way because they cannot simply place you in a category. They cannot easily figure you out. They cannot say, I know exactly what this person is going to do next. And that unpredictability is making them more interested. You may have noticed someone becoming slightly different around you. Maybe they are finding more reasons to talk to you. Maybe they respond faster than they used to. Maybe they remember tiny details you mentioned weeks ago. Maybe they suddenly seem interested in your opinions. They may ask questions that appear casual but are actually designed to keep the conversation going. They may tease you, playfully challenge you, make jokes just to see how you react. And sometimes, when a person is falling for someone, they do not immediately become more direct. Sometimes they become more obvious in very indirect ways. They suddenly appear wherever they think you might be. They find small reasons to send a message. They bring up things you once said. They remember your preferences. They notice when your mood changes. They may even become slightly nervous around you. And this is where your energy becomes especially powerful, Virgo, because you are not necessarily trying to create this effect. You are simply being yourself. And the person who is becoming attached to you may be realizing that your personality has become part of their daily mental landscape. They hear a joke and think, Virgo would say something like that. They see something interesting and wonder what your opinion would be. They experience a moment that reminds them of a conversation with you. They may even find themselves replaying something you said, not because it was necessarily dramatic, but because there was something about the way you said it. And that is the part that surprises them. They are not just remembering major moments, they are remembering the small things, your expressions, your reactions, the way you look when you are trying not to laugh, the way you become more passionate when you talk about something you care about, the way you can be incredibly observant without announcing that you are observing everything. You may not realize how much people notice about you, but they do. And there is one person who seems to be noticing more than they are willing to admit. This person may have originally thought they could keep things casual. They may have told themselves that they were simply curious about you. They may have thought they were only attracted to your energy temporarily. But the problem is that your energy keeps staying with them. They can leave the conversation, but the conversation does not leave them. They can create distance, but the curiosity remains. They can try to focus on other people, other situations, other priorities, and yet somehow you keep appearing in their thoughts. And this is where they may begin to feel slightly frustrated with themselves because they may not understand why you have such an effect. You may not be the person they expected to become interested in. Perhaps they had a specific idea of what they wanted. Perhaps they thought they wanted someone predictable, someone easier to understand, someone who would give them constant reassurance, someone who would make their feelings obvious from the beginning. And then you appeared with your independent energy, your selective attention, your humor, your intelligence, your ability to engage deeply, and then suddenly pull back into your own world. And now they are wondering how they went from simply noticing you to actually caring about your attention. Because that is what seems to be happening. Your attention has become valuable to them. When you respond warmly, they feel it. When you seem distant, they notice. When you are engaged, they become more confident. When you become quiet, they start wondering what changed. And Virgo, this is not necessarily because you are playing games. It is because you are not constantly available to everyone. You have your own life, your own thoughts, your own priorities. And when you give someone your full attention, they can feel the difference. That is one of the reasons your energy is so magnetic right now. You are not giving the same version of yourself to everybody. You may be friendly with many people, but not everyone gets access to your deeper thoughts. Not everyone gets to see your softer side. Not everyone gets to experience your full sense of humor. And when someone does receive that access, they may begin to feel special. They may begin to wonder if there is something different between the two of you. And perhaps there is, because you have a way of making people feel seen without necessarily trying to make them feel seen. You notice when someone is uncomfortable. You notice when their energy changes. You notice when they are pretending to be fine. You notice the contradiction between what they say and what they actually mean. And when you point something out, you may do it with such precision that the person has no idea whether they should be impressed or slightly nervous. This is part of your charm. You are difficult to fool, and people can feel that. The person falling for you may be very aware that you see more than you say. They may wonder what you really think of them. They may replay their interactions with you, trying to determine whether your teasing was simply your personality or whether there was something more behind it. They may analyze your messages, your tone, your pauses, your reactions. And the funny thing is, Virgo, you may be doing the exact same thing without realizing how much they are doing it too. There is an energy here of two people trying to understand each other while both pretending to be more relaxed than they actually are. One person may make a joke, the other person may respond with something clever. Both laugh, but underneath that interaction, there is a question: is there something happening here? And the more this person interacts with you, the harder it becomes for them to deny that they feel something, because you are not just entertaining them, you are stimulating their mind. And mental attraction can become incredibly powerful. A person may initially notice your appearance, but when they become addicted to your perspective, that is when things become much more difficult to control. They start craving conversations. They start wanting to know what you think. They start looking forward to your messages. They start wondering what you are doing. And suddenly, your presence becomes something they anticipate. This is why someone may be falling harder than they expected. They may have approached the situation thinking they could remain detached, but you keep surprising them. Every time they think they understand you, you show them another layer. You can be incredibly practical one moment and unexpectedly sentimental the next. You can be calm in situations where other people panic. You can be deeply thoughtful but still make fun of yourself. You can be independent but incredibly caring toward the people you genuinely value. And that combination is powerful because people are often attracted to what they cannot easily simplify. You are not just one thing. You are not only serious, you are not only playful, you are not only mysterious, you are not only emotionally reserved, you are a mixture of all of these things. And the person who is becoming attached to you may be realizing that they cannot predict which version of you they will experience next. One day, you may be incredibly talkative. The next day, you may be completely absorbed in your own world. One moment, you may be joking with them. The next, you may say something so perceptive that they suddenly realize you have been paying attention to everything. And that keeps them interested. They do not want the conversation to end. They do not want to lose your attention. They may even begin to feel slightly competitive with the people around you. Not necessarily in an unhealthy way, but they are aware that you have options. They know other people notice you. They know other people enjoy your energy. They know you can easily make someone laugh. They know your presence can create chemistry without you even trying. And this may trigger a realization inside them. If I wait too long, someone else may recognize what I am recognizing. That thought may be creating urgency. Because you are becoming more noticeable, you may be entering a phase where your energy is expanding. You may be more confident in your own identity. You may be less willing to chase people who give you mixed signals. You may be more comfortable walking away from conversations that feel one-sided. You may be more selective with your time. And ironically, the more you stop trying to be chosen, the more people start wanting to choose you. This person can feel that shift. They may remember a version of you that was more available, more responsive, more willing to explain yourself, more willing to give people the benefit of the doubt. But now something is different. You are not necessarily cold. You are simply more aware. You are beginning to understand that your energy is valuable and not everyone deserves unlimited access to it. This is making you more attractive because there is confidence in self respect. You are no longer trying to convince people to understand your value. You are allowing them to discover it, and someone is discovering it. Slowly at first, then all at once. They may be thinking about how easy it feels to talk to you, but also how difficult it is to stop talking to you. That is the contradiction. You make conversation feel effortless, but your effect on them is not effortless. You make them laugh, but then they think about the conversation later. You may make a sarcastic comment, and they may remember it hours afterward. You may casually say something that reveals your intelligence, and they may suddenly see you differently. You may not even realize how much they admire the way your mind works. They may admire the way you can analyze situations, the way you can detect nonsense, the way you can find humor in awkward moments, the way you can be charming without appearing desperate to be liked. And that last part is important. You are not trying too hard. You are not constantly performing. You are not changing your personality to fit every person in the room. And that authenticity is becoming increasingly rare. The person who is falling for you may have encountered many attractive people before, but not many people who make them think, not many people who make them laugh and question themselves at the same time, not many people who can be warm without being completely predictable, not many people who can create a sense of comfort while still maintaining an element of mystery. You do, and they are noticing. There may also be someone from your past who is suddenly becoming aware of how much they miss your energy. Perhaps they once took your attention for granted. Perhaps they assumed you would always be there. Perhaps they did not understand how special your connection was until they experienced your absence. And now they may be comparing other interactions to the way they felt with you. They may meet someone new and realize the conversation feels empty. They may try to create the same chemistry and find that something is missing. They may realize that not everyone can make them laugh in the same way. Not everyone can challenge them in the same way. Not everyone can understand their strange sense of humor. Not everyone can see through their defenses. And that realization may bring regret because sometimes people do not understand the value of a connection while they are inside it. They understand it when they no longer have easy access to it. Your absence may be teaching someone something. They may be realizing that you were not simply entertaining, you were emotionally significant. You brought a particular energy into their life. You made things lighter. You made conversations more interesting. You may have encouraged them to see themselves differently. And now that you are no longer giving that energy freely, they are feeling the difference. This is why someone may suddenly appear more interested. They may start finding excuses to reconnect. They may send a message that seems casual. They may react to something you post. They may ask a mutual person about you. They may bring up an old memory. They may make a joke that only the two of you understand. And behind that casual behavior. There may be a much deeper desire. They want to know if the connection is still there. They want to know if you still think about them. They want to know if they still have access to the version of you that made them feel so comfortable. But there is a challenge. They may be nervous about how you will respond because your energy has changed. They may not know whether you will welcome them warmly or simply smile and continue moving forward. And that uncertainty is creating tension. You may not realize how powerful your silence can be. When you stop explaining yourself, people are forced to confront their own assumptions. When you stop chasing, people are forced to ask whether they were relying on your pursuit. When you stop giving constant reassurance, people begin to notice how much reassurance they were receiving from you. And someone is noticing. They may have assumed you were always going to be emotionally available. Now they are not so sure. And that uncertainty is causing them to think more seriously about what they want. This is why the energy around you feels romantic, but also psychological. Someone is not simply attracted to you. They are trying to understand why they are attracted to you. They are trying to understand why your opinion matters, why your attention affects their mood, why they care when you seem distant, why they feel more confident when you seem interested. And they may be discovering that the answer is simple. They like you more than they planned to, more than they expected to, more than they are currently comfortable admitting. And Virgo, this person may not be the only one. There is a wider energy around you right now where people are being drawn toward your personality. You may notice more compliments, more conversations, more people wanting your attention, more unexpected invitations, more people trying to make you laugh, more people looking for opportunities to interact with you. And the reason is not necessarily that you suddenly became a completely different person. The difference may be that you are finally expressing more of who you already are. You may be less concerned with being perfectly understood. You may be more willing to say what you actually think. You may be embracing your humor, your intelligence, your uniqueness, your slightly unconventional way of seeing the world, and people are responding to that. There is something very attractive about a person who is comfortable enough to be interesting. You do not have to be mysterious on purpose. You do not have to create a strategy. You do not have to manipulate anyone's attention. Your natural personality is already creating curiosity. The person falling for you may even be telling someone about you. They may describe you as funny, smart, different, hard to read. They may say they do not know what it is about you. And the person listening may already understand because sometimes everyone else can see the attraction before the person experiencing it is ready to admit it. They may say, I don't know why I keep thinking about them, but the answer is obvious. You made an impression, you entered their mind and stayed there. And now they are trying to figure out what to do with that feeling. They may want to approach you more directly, but they also want to protect themselves. They may be afraid of becoming too obvious. They may fear rejection. They may fear that you do not feel the same way. They may worry that your charm is simply your personality and that they are interpreting something deeper because they want it to be deeper. This uncertainty may cause them to move closer and then pull back. They may flirt and then act casual. They may show interest and then pretend they were joking. They may ask personal questions and then quickly change the subject. They may want to know your relationship status without directly asking. They may try to discover whether someone else already has your attention. And if you are single, they may be quietly relieved. If you are involved with someone, they may be trying to understand how serious that situation is because they are becoming more emotionally invested. And once someone begins to feel that they could actually lose the opportunity to know you, their behavior can change. They become more intentional. They may start showing up more consistently. They may become more honest. They may stop hiding behind jokes. They may finally say something they have been holding back. Perhaps they will tell you that they enjoy talking to you. Perhaps they will admit that you are difficult to forget. Perhaps they will make a comment that reveals they have been paying much closer attention than you realized. And Virgo, you may be surprised because you may have thought this person was simply being friendly. You may have assumed they were naturally social. You may have believed they treated everyone the same way. But then they say something, and suddenly you realize that they have been paying attention to you specifically. They know things about you. They remember details. They notice patterns. They know when you are pretending to be okay. They know what makes you laugh. They know what annoys you. They may even know when you are about to make a sarcastic comment before you make it. That level of attention is rarely accidental. And there is something else. This person may be attracted to the fact that you do not need them to complete your life. You are not looking at them as your only source of happiness. You have your own goals, your own interests, your own responsibilities, your own inner world. And that makes the connection feel more genuine. Because if you choose them, it is not because you cannot be alone. It is because you genuinely want their presence. That distinction is powerful, and people can feel it. You are becoming someone who is increasingly difficult to manipulate because you are learning to recognize your own value. You do not have to accept the bare minimum just because someone is attractive. You do not have to remain in confusing situations simply because there is chemistry. You can enjoy someone and still walk away if their behavior does not match their words. And this level of discernment is making you more desirable because there is confidence in having standards. There is mystery in not revealing everything immediately. There is attraction in knowing that someone has to genuinely connect with you to gain deeper access. And someone is willing to try. They may not be perfect. They may still have fears. They may still be uncertain. But their interest is growing. And the more they discover about you, the deeper it becomes. At first, they may have been attracted to your appearance, then your humor, then your intelligence, then your emotional depth. And now they may be realizing that they want to know everything. The stories you do not tell everyone, the things you worry about, the dreams you keep private, the version of you that appears when you are completely comfortable. And that is when attraction begins to transform into something more serious because they are no longer interested only in the version of you that everyone sees. They want the version that very few people get to experience. And Virgo, you do not give that version of yourself easily. You have learned, you have been disappointed before. You have seen what happens when you give too much to someone who does not know how to value it. So now you are more careful, and that carefulness is not making you less lovable. It is making your love more meaningful. The right person will not be intimidated by the fact that they have to earn your trust. They will understand that your heart is not a public space, and the person who is falling for you may be beginning to understand that. They may realize that charming you is not about saying the perfect thing. It is about being consistent, being honest, showing up, remembering what matters to you, making you feel comfortable enough to stop analyzing everything. And they may actually want to become that person. That is why their feelings may be developing so intensely. You are not simply giving them excitement. You are making them want to improve the way they show up. You are making them think about what kind of person they need to be if they want to remain in your life. And that is a powerful effect to have on someone. Virgo, there is a strong possibility that a conversation is coming where this person's feelings become more obvious. It may not be a dramatic declaration. It may begin with something small. A question, a compliment, a moment of honesty, a message sent later than usual, a sudden admission that they have missed talking to you. But something will shift. The dynamic may become more transparent. The playful energy may remain, but underneath it, there will be more sincerity. They may look at you differently, speak to you differently, approach you differently, and you may feel the difference immediately. Because when someone is trying to hide attraction, their behavior has a certain rhythm. But when someone begins to accept their feelings, their energy changes. They stop trying to appear completely unaffected. They stop pretending they do not care. They stop creating unnecessary distance. They begin to move toward what they actually want. And this person may be reaching that point. They may still be nervous. They may still joke. They may still act casual, but something inside them is becoming much more serious. They are falling, and they may not be able to stop it. What started as curiosity is becoming attachment. What started as attraction is becoming admiration. What started as casual conversation is becoming something they genuinely look forward to. And what makes this especially powerful is that you may not even be chasing the connection. You may simply be living, and that is why your energy is so magnetic right now. You are becoming more comfortable in your own presence. You are learning that you do not have to convince anyone to stay. You are learning that the people meant to appreciate you will recognize the value of your energy, your humor, your mind, your heart, your uniqueness, your ability to make ordinary moments feel memorable. And someone is recognizing all of it. They may have initially been drawn to your charm, but they are staying because there is more underneath it. There is depth, there is loyalty, there is sensitivity, there is a mind that never stops observing. There is a heart that may be much softer than you allow most people to see. And there is a version of you that is still waiting for the right person to make you feel safe enough to completely relax. This person may want to discover that version. And if they are willing to be consistent, honest, and genuine, they may get closer than they expected. Virgo, do not underestimate the impact you have on people. You may think people forget conversations. They do not. You may think your jokes are just jokes. Someone may remember them for years. You may think your presence is ordinary. To someone else, it may be exactly what they needed. You may think your ability to make people laugh is just part of your personality. But for someone who has been surrounded by emotional heaviness, your energy can feel like relief. You may think your intelligence is simply something you possess, but to someone who has always wanted to be understood, your ability to see beneath the surface can feel rare. You may think your independence means people do not know how to approach you. But to the right person, it means that when you choose to let them close, that choice actually means something. And someone is beginning to understand this. They are not just falling for your appearance, they are falling for your timing, your reactions, your wit, your contradictions, your ability to make them feel comfortable and challenged at the same time. They are falling for the fact that they never quite know what you are going to say next. They are falling for the way you can make them laugh when they did not expect to laugh. They are falling for the way you notice things. They are falling for the way you can be incredibly grounded while still having a wild, unpredictable side. They are falling for the version of you that does not need to perform. And Virgo, the message here is simple. You do not have to become more entertaining. You do not have to become more attractive. You do not have to become more mysterious. You do not have to force anyone to notice you. The energy around you is already creating attention. The people who are meant to recognize your value are beginning to recognize it. And the person who is falling for you may be realizing that the more they try to understand your charm, the more fascinated they become. They may not be able to explain why your energy feels different. They may not be able to explain why they keep thinking about you. They may not be able to explain why they want to hear your opinions, but they feel it. And the more they try to resist it, the more obvious it becomes. You are not necessarily chasing them. You are not begging them to see you. You are not asking them to appreciate you. You are simply being yourself. And that may be exactly why they are falling so hard. Because your charm is not manufactured. Your wit is not rehearsed. Your intelligence is not something you have to announce. Your energy does not need to demand attention. It naturally creates curiosity, and curiosity becomes interest. Interest becomes admiration. Admiration becomes emotional attachment. And before they realize it, they may find themselves completely captivated by someone they initially thought they could simply observe from a distance. Virgo, you are entering a phase where your energy is becoming increasingly difficult to overlook. People are going to notice your presence. They are going to remember your words. They are going to think about your reactions. They are going to wonder what is happening in your world. And someone in particular may finally decide that simply watching you from a distance is no longer enough. They may want to get closer. They may want more conversations, more time, more access, more of your attention. And the interesting part is that you may not even have to do anything dramatic. You may simply continue being the person you are. Keep laughing, keep thinking, keep observing, keep saying what you actually mean. Keep protecting your peace. Keep allowing your personality to exist without apologizing for it. Because the right people are not going to be confused by your uniqueness. They are going to be attracted to it. They are not going to ask you to become easier to understand. They are going to enjoy discovering you. They are not going to be intimidated by your standards. They are going to respect them, and they are not going to want a smaller version of you. They are going to be fascinated by the full version. So, if someone has been acting differently around you lately, pay attention. If someone seems to be finding more reasons to talk to you, notice it. If someone remembers tiny details, becomes nervous, teases you more than usual, or suddenly seems very interested in what you are doing, there may be more behind that behavior than they are admitting. Someone may be falling slowly, quietly, unexpectedly, but deeply. And the more they experience your energy, the harder it becomes for them to pretend that they are unaffected. Because Virgo, people can try to resist attraction. They can try to act casual. They can tell themselves that they are simply curious. But eventually, the truth becomes obvious. Some people are simply impossible to forget. And right now, you may be becoming that person for someone. The person who appears in their thoughts at random, the person they compare conversations to, the person whose jokes they remember, the person whose attention they secretly want, the person they cannot quite figure out, the person they keep coming back to. And perhaps the most beautiful part of all is that you do not have to chase this. You do not have to force it. You do not have to become someone else. Your natural energy is enough. Your mind is enough. Your wit is enough. Your charm is enough. Your mystery is enough. Your heart is enough. And the person who is truly meant to connect with you will not need to be convinced. They will feel the pull. They will notice the difference. They will want to know more. And eventually, they may have to admit what they have been trying not to admit. They are falling for you hard. And Virgo, the best part is that this time you may be in a position to decide whether they have earned the privilege of getting closer, because you are no longer begging for attention. You are no longer trying to prove that you are worthy of love. You are no longer waiting for someone to finally recognize what you bring to the table. You know who you are becoming, and people can feel that. Your confidence is becoming quieter. Your standards are becoming stronger. Your humor is becoming sharper. Your presence is becoming more memorable, and your energy is becoming increasingly difficult to replace. So let them wonder about you. Let them be curious. Let them think about the conversation after it ends. Let them try to understand why they cannot stop smiling when your name appears. Let them discover that your charm is not something they can easily get over. Because Virgo, you were never meant to be ordinary in someone's memory. You were never meant to be easily forgotten. And right now, someone is learning that firsthand. They may have thought they were simply attracted to you, but they are discovering that attraction was only the beginning. Because the more they get to know you, the more they see. And the more they see, the harder it becomes to walk away. This is the energy surrounding you now. People are noticing, people are talking, people are becoming curious, people are drawn toward you, and someone is falling much harder than they expected. So continue being yourself. Continue protecting your peace. Continue using your humor. Continue letting your mind shine. Continue refusing to shrink yourself so that other people feel more comfortable. The people who are meant to appreciate your energy will not ask you to become less witty, less intelligent, less independent, less expressive, or less uniquely you. They will fall for exactly what makes you different. And someone already is. They may not be ready to say it yet. They may still be pretending that they are completely unaffected. They may still be trying to act casual. But underneath that surface, something is happening. They are thinking about you. They are remembering you. They are looking forward to you. And little by little, they are realizing that you have become someone they do not want to lose. Virgo, your energy is not something people simply experience and forget. It stays, it lingers, it creates questions, it creates memories, it creates curiosity. And when the right person encounters that energy, they may find themselves wanting more. More conversation, more laughter, more honesty, more time, more of you. And eventually, the person who has been trying to keep their feelings under control may reach a point where they can no longer pretend. They may finally make their interest obvious. They may finally stop hiding behind jokes. They may finally admit that they have been thinking about you. And when that happens, remember that you do not have to rush. You do not have to immediately give everything. You do not have to prove that you feel the same way. You are allowed to observe. You are allowed to take your time. You are allowed to let someone show you what their interest actually means. Because your energy is valuable. Your attention is valuable. Your heart is valuable. And the person falling for you will have to understand that. The attraction may be intense. The chemistry may be undeniable. The conversations may be effortless. But what matters most is whether the person can meet you with consistency, whether they can appreciate your depth as much as your charm, whether they can handle your honesty as much as your humor, whether they can respect the parts of you that are not always easy to access. Because, Virgo, you are not simply someone to be admired from a distance. You are someone to be understood. And the person who is falling for you may be realizing that understanding you is going to be one of the most fascinating experiences of their life. They may never fully predict you. They may never completely figure you out. And perhaps that is exactly why they do not want to stop trying. So, yes, Virgo, someone is falling. They are falling for the way your mind works. They are falling for the way you make ordinary conversations feel different. They are falling for your wit, your charm, your timing, your independence, your subtle softness, your sharp observations, your unexpected humor, your ability to be both grounded and completely unpredictable. They are falling for the version of you that does not need to ask for attention. The version of you that walks into a conversation and leaves an impression without even trying. The version of you that may not realize how many people are quietly fascinated by you. And most importantly, they are falling for the fact that you are becoming more comfortable being exactly who you are. That is the energy people cannot resist. Not perfection, not performance, authenticity. You are becoming more yourself, and someone is falling deeply for what they see. So let the energy unfold naturally. Let people reveal themselves. Let the conversations develop. Let the person who is interested in you show you how serious they are. You do not need to chase what is already moving toward you. You do not need to convince someone to be fascinated by you. You do not need to force chemistry. Your energy is already speaking. Your presence is already being felt. And someone is listening. Someone is watching. Someone is smiling at their phone because of something you said. Someone is remembering a conversation. Someone is wondering when they will see you again. Someone is asking themselves why they cannot stop thinking about you. And the answer may be much simpler than they realize. You are Virgo. You are witty. You are charming. You are intelligent. You are memorable. And when someone experiences your energy in the right way, falling for you may be completely unavoidable. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to support the channel by liking this reading, subscribing, and sharing your thoughts below. Sometimes the smallest interaction helps these messages reach the people who need to hear them at the right moment. And if someone immediately came to mind while listening to this, pay attention to that feeling. Not because you need to force anything, but because sometimes your own intuition notices changes before your conscious mind has fully understood them. For now, Virgo, continue being yourself. Keep your standards. Keep your humor. Keep your independence. Keep your beautiful ability to see through what is fake. Because the people who are truly drawn to you are not falling for an illusion. They are falling for you. And someone may be falling much harder than they ever expected.